Hello everyone, Namaste. Welcome back to my channel Academic Tuber. Today we are going to discuss chapter 5 from grade 9 science, that is anatomy and life process. Before that, if you are new to this channel, please subscribe the channel and for more update hit the bell icon. If you want more videos related to this, please like and do share this video among your friends, and also don't forget to give your valuable response in comment section. We know that the life of organism begins with a single cell. In unicellular organism, all the activities necessary for survival are performed by a single cell. However, in multicellular organism, a group of cells from tissue and organs to perform different activities. The internal activities that are essential to keep an organism alive are called life processes. Example: nutrition, growth, movement, respiration, circulation, digestion, excretion, reproduction, etc. Cell is the most important basic requirement for life. All living organisms begins their life from a cell. Cell provide framework and gives different sizes and shapes to the living organism. Cell is the functional and structural unit of life. Robert Hooke in 17th century, that is in 1665, termed cell. He was the first person to study living things under a microscope, and he saw honeycomb-like structure in a thin slice of cork under a microscope. The study of cells and their structure, function, types, and organelles is called cytology. The group of similar cells specialized to perform a particular function are called tissue. They are of two kinds, plant tissue and animal tissue. The branch of biology that deals with tissue is called histology. Plant tissue. Plant tissue is generally categorized into two types. They are permanent tissue and meristematic tissue. Again, permanent tissue it is categorized into two types. They are simple permanent and complex permanent. Again, the simple permanent tissue it is further categorized into parenchyma, collenchyma, and sclerenchyma, whereas the complex permanent tissue it is categorized into two types. They are xylem and phloem, which are popularly known as vascular bundles. Similarly, meristematic tissue, so it is divided into three parts on the basis of their origin: apical meristem, intercalary meristem, and lateral meristem. Meristematic tissue. The group of young cells which have the capacity of active cell division is called meristematic tissue or meristem. The cells are closely packed with each other, therefore they do not have intercellular space. The space between the cells is known as the intercellular space. The cells have thin cell wall. Cytoplasm is dense with clear nucleus, and the tissue is made up of thin cell wall, clear nucleus, and a cytoplasm. On the basis of location, meristematic tissue are divided into three types. They are apical meristem, lateral meristem, and intercalary meristem. First one is apical meristem. If meristematic tissue is found at the tip of root or stem, it is called apical meristem. It is responsible for increase in the length of root and stem. Next one is lateral meristem. If the meristematic tissue is found at the lateral side of root or stem, it is called lateral meristem. It helps to grow the thickness of root and stem. And last one is intercalary meristem. It is found at the internodes at the base of the leaves. The distance between two nodes is known as the internodes, and the node it is the region on the stem from where leaves or branches rises. Intercalary meristem increases the size of the internode. Permanent tissue. The group of cells that do not have the power of cell division is called permanent tissue. They have definite shape and sizes. They may be living or dead and thin-walled or thick-walled. Types of permanent tissue. Simple permanent tissue, complex permanent tissue. Simple permanent tissue. The simple permanent tissue, it is the tissue that is made up of similar kind of cells forming a uniform mass is called simple permanent tissue. So tissue perform a single particular function, and the simple permanent tissue are of three types. They are parenchyma, collenchyma, and sclerenchyma. Parenchyma. Here is a diagram showing the parenchyma. Parenchyma, it is a simple tissue of living cells which could be spherical, oval, polygonal, irregular or cylindrical shapes. Every cell have thin wall of cellulose with smaller or larger intercellular space between the cells. Every cell is provided with one nucleus, thin layer of cytoplasm and one vacuole of large size. If parenchyma cell contain chloroplasts, then called parenchyma or mesophyll, and if the tissue is having large air-filled cavities between the walls, then called parenchyma. Functions. The tissue has a main role in storing the prepared food in reserve. In the roots, the tissue helps in transportation of water and minerals from one part to another. In green plants, parenchyma construct food performing photosynthesis. In the aquatic plants, that is in hydrophytes, parenchyma makes the body lighter and helps in flotation, and also oxygen and carbon dioxide of the air chamber are used during photosynthesis and respiration. Next one is parenchyma. Here is a diagram showing the TS of parenchyma tissue. Parenchyma, it is a tissue of living cells which are cylindrical and long, making several rows with their ends to end connection, and the end walls could be horizontal or rounded in shape. Every living cell has a distinct nucleus, cytoplasm and vacuole of large size, and the walls getting thicker and stronger due to heavily deposited cellulose, hemicellulose and pectin. The deposition is much heavier in the region of intercellular space, and therefore the spaces get filled by those deposition. Location: epidermis of stem and petiole of leaves. Function: the tissue provides support and strength to the small herbaceous plants. Green parenchyma prepares food with the chloroplast present in the cell. Next one is sclerenchyma. So here is a diagram showing sclerenchyma. It is a group of dead cells that have become devoid of protoplasm, and in absence of protoplasm, the empty space of the cell is called lumen. The walls are thicker and stronger due to the chemical lignin as an extra component, making it lignified wall. The lignified wall develops speed at the frequent gaps for establishing communication between the adjoining cells. Location of sclerenchyma: seed course, cells of nuts, stone of fruits, xylem and phloem, veins of leaves, etc. Functions: it provides mechanical support to the plant and helps to make them straight. It also provides strength and flexibility to the plants. Next one is complex permanent tissue. It is a tissue made of more than one kind of cells, and therefore becoming a heterogeneous mass of cells, and their main function is the conduction of water, minerals and food. Xylem and phloem are complex permanent tissue. Xylem. Xylem is a conducting tissue which is composed of four types of cells, that is trachea, vessels, xylem fibers and xylem parenchyma. Xylem is commonly known as wood as it provides strength and toughness to plants. It contains dead cells except xylem parenchyma. Location: xylem, it is found in the internal parts of root, stem and leaves of pteridophytes and flowering plants. Functions: it conducts water and minerals from root to leaves. It provides mechanical support and strength to the plants. It can store food. Phloem. Phloem is conducting tissue that consists of four kinds of elements: sieve, tube, companion cells, phloem parenchyma and phloem fibers. Phloem is also called a blast because it is found in the inner bark surrounding of the stem of dicotyledonous plants. It contains living cells except the phloem fibers. Location of phloem: it is found in the inner layer of all parts such as root, stem and leaves in higher plants. Functions: it transports prepared food from leaves to different parts of the plant. It provides mechanical support to the plant, and it can store food as well. Special permanent tissue. The permanent tissue which contains secretory or excretory structure in the form of ducts, glands or specialized cells is called special permanent tissue. It is also known as the secreted tissue and are of two types. First one is glandular tissue. It forms glands which are responsible for secreting special chemical substances like enzymes, nectar, oil, mucilage, gums, tannin, resin, etc. It is found in pine, tobacco leaves, and fruit skin of oranges and lemons, tulsi, pudina, leaves of nettles, etc. Next, special permanent tissue is lactiferous tissue. It consists of thick wall, greatly elongated and highly branched duct-like cells which provide milky or alloys called a juice known as latex. It is found in opium, papaya, banyan, people, rubber, milkweed, argemone, sunflower, euphorbia, etc. Animal tissue. A group of cells which perform a special function in animals is called animal tissue. On the basis of its structure and function, animal tissue are classified into following four types. They are epithelial tissue, muscular tissue, connective tissue, and nervous tissue. First one is epithelial tissue. It is a thin, protective, and covering tissue that covers the outer and inner organs of the body. The outer surface of skin and cavities of hollow organs like esophagus, stomach, intestine, lungs, etc. are covered by epithelium. Characteristics of epithelial tissue. They are attached at the basement membrane. Cells are closely packed without intercellular space and matrix. They are made up of one or more layers of cells. Blood vessels are absent in the tissue. Function of epithelial tissue. It protects the underlying tissue from mechanical injury, entry of germs and harmful chemicals. It helps in absorption of digested food and excretion of nitrogenous wastes. It also helps in the secretion of enzymes and hormones and formation of gametes. Types of epithelial tissue. There are four types of epithelial tissue. They are pavement, which is also known as the squamous epithelium, cuboidal epithelium, columnar epithelium, and finally glandular epithelium. First one is pavement epithelium. Here is a diagram showing the pavement epithelium. It is a single layer epithelial tissue in which cells are thin, having centrally placed nucleus. The cells in this tissue are flat, plate-like and polygonal. It performs function of covering, protecting and filtering. Pavement epithelium, they are found in the form of lining in skin, lungs, heart, kidney, esophagus and blood vessels. Function of pavement epithelium are: it covers and provides protection to the underlying tissue. Pavement epithelium of kidneys helps in filtering out of wastage from the body, and it helps in making the passage for the flow of liquids and gases. Next one is cuboidal epithelium. So here is a diagram showing the cuboidal epithelium. It is made up of single layer cuboidal cells. The cells in this tissue are attached with one another by their lateral surface. It is known for covering, protecting and secreting. Location: it is found in ducts of kidneys, thyroid gland, ducts of excretory organs, beginning part of food pipe, respiratory ducts, inner parts of uterus, etc. The major function of cuboidal epithelium are covering, protecting, secreting, etc. Third one is columnar epithelium. So here is a diagram showing the columnar epithelium. It is made of single layer elongated column-like cells which are placed side by side. The cells are attached to a basement membrane. It is found in the inner lining of ovary, larger ducts of kidney, small intestine, salivary glands, reproductive organs, gallbladder, etc. The main function of columnar epithelium are secretion and absorption. Glandular epithelium. So here is a diagram showing the glandular epithelium. Glandular epithelium covers the gland of body. Cells are specialized for the manufacture and secretion of chemical substances. It is the modified form of columnar epithelium. It is found in the endocrine and exocrine glands, and its major function is secrete various chemicals like digestive juice, which are also known as enzymes, hormones, sweat, saliva, mucus, etc. Next one is muscular tissue. The tissue which is made of long and narrow muscle fibers is called muscular tissue. Muscular tissue consists of elongated cells, also called muscle fibers. This tissue is responsible for movement in our body. Main function of muscular tissue is to provide movement to the body. Muscles contain special protein called contractile proteins which contract and relax to cause movement. Types of muscular tissue. Muscular tissue are of three types. They are striated muscles or skeletal muscles or voluntary muscles, smooth muscles or involuntary muscles, and finally cardiac muscles or involuntary muscles. First one is striated muscles or skeletal muscles or voluntary muscles. Here is a diagram showing the skeletal muscles. These muscles are also called skeletal muscles as they are mostly attached to bones and helps in body movement. Cells are cylindrical, unbranched and multinucleate. The muscle fibers are composed of light and dark bands. They are attached to the skeleton in hands, legs, neck, trunk, hand, head, etc. It is also found in tongue and pharynx. And the major function of skeletal muscle is to help in the movement of different parts of the body. Second one is smooth muscles or involuntary muscles. So here is a diagram showing the smooth muscles. These muscles cannot be moved according to our will. Cells are long, spindle shaped and possess a single nucleus. The muscle fiber do not have any bands and are smooth. They are present in the inner part of stomach, intestine, blood vessels, respiratory passages, etc. And the major function is they are responsible for the autonomous function of the body. Third one is cardiac muscle or involuntary muscles. Here is a diagram showing the cardiac muscles. They help in rhythmic contraction and relaxation of the heart. Cells are cylindrical, unbranched and uninucleate. The muscle fibers contain light and dark bands. They are located in the heart and major functions is the cardiac muscle is responsible for the contractility of the heart and therefore the pumping action. Connective tissue. These are the tissue that support, connect or separate various other kinds of tissue and organs inside the body. A connective tissue has three basic components: cells, fibers, which is also known as collagens, and matrix. First one is cell. The cells are the living component of connecting tissue. Fibers are the non-living part of cells which form extracellular material. And matrix, the solid or liquid substance that fills the intercellular space of connective tissue is called matrix. It may contain water, fibers, and minerals. Types of connective tissue. Proper soft loose connective tissue, example areolar and adipose tissue. Hard dense connective tissue, example bone and cartilage. And third one is fluid liquid connective tissue, which is blood and lymph. First one is proper soft loose connective tissue. It is composed of irregular cells scattered and embedded in a soft matrix. It forms a protective layer around the organs. This tissue is of two types: areolar fibrous tissue and adipose tissue. First one is areolar or fibrous connective tissue. Here is a diagram showing the fibrous connective tissue. It consists of isolated cells present in the matrix. The matrix consists of collagen fibers, elastic fibers, water and minerals. Location. It is found between the cell and muscles, around blood vessels and nerves and bone marrow. The fibrous tissue that connects muscle to the bone is called tendon, whereas the fibrous connective tissue that connects one bone with another is called ligament. The function is that it forms a protective layer around the organs and gives definite shape to the organ. They also involve in repair or healing of organs. Second one is adipose tissue. It is modified form of fibrous tissue which stores fats. Here is a diagram showing the structure of adipose tissue. Location: it is present on the skin and around the intestine, kidney, eyes, glands, blood vessels, etc. Function: it stores fats and acts as insulator that saves the body heating from escaping. It also acts as a cushion around the soft organs and saves them from injury. Hard dense connective tissue. It forms a hard framework of endoskeleton and supports the body. The cells of hard connective tissue are called osteocytes. It consists of cartilages and bones. Cartilage. It is the smooth and flexible skeletal tissue. Here is a diagram showing the cartilage. And cartilage, it is found in the external ear, nose, epiglottis, trachea, etc. and also in the joint where it covers the end of bones. Functions. It is rigid in nature and helps in the movement of limbs. It reduces friction between the movable parts of body and acts as shock absorber. It is adapted to resist any strain. Second one is bone. It is a hard connective tissue which provides framework to the body and protects the delicate organs. The living bone cells are called osteocytes, which are surrounded by matrix. Here is a diagram showing the bone. A bone is surrounded by thin membrane called periosteum. The bone consists of two types of bone marrows, yellow spongy bone marrow and red bone marrow. Red bone marrow produces red blood cell RBCs and white blood cell WBCs. Function of bones. The 206 bones in the human body perform the following functions. They provide shape to the body, acts as protection to internal organs like brain, heart, lungs, etc. They provide support to body and anchors the muscles. Bone serves as a storage space for minerals like calcium and phosphate. Bone helps in facilitating body movements. Bone serves as a birthplace for the red blood cells. Differences between cartilage and bone. Cartilage, it is a soft, elastic and flexible tissue, whereas bone, it is hard, rigid and non-flexible tissue. In cartilage, the matrix does not contain blood vessels, whereas in the matrix contains a network of blood vessels in bones. Cartilage, it does not contain bone marrow. Bone, it contains bone marrow. Third one is fluid liquid connective tissue. Here is a diagram showing the fluid liquid connective tissue. Blood. The connective tissue which has matrix and lack fibers is called liquid connective tissue. It provides nutrition, helps in internal transportation and prevent from diseases. Blood and lymph are liquid connective tissue. Blood. It is a red color liquid connective tissue which is composed of 55% plasma and 45% blood cells. Plasma is straw color liquid, straw color slightly alkaline liquid that transport various substances like nutrients, gases, hormones and other materials. Blood cells are of three types. They are red blood cell RBCs, white blood cell WBC and platelets. Difference between RBC and WBC. Red blood cells, they are very tiny, circular, biconcave and non-nucleated, whereas WBC, they are comparatively larger, irregular and nucleated. Red blood cells, they are red due to presence of hemoglobin, whereas white blood cells, they are white or colorless due to lack of hemoglobin. Red blood cells, they transfer oxygen from lungs to tissue and carbon dioxide from tissue to lungs, whereas WBC, white blood cells, they fight against the germs. Red blood cells, they live for about 120 days, whereas the WBC, they live for about 2 to 4 days. Lymph. It is a colorless alkaline fluid which flows through lymph vessel and it is present between the capillary and tissue. Difference between blood and lymph. Blood, it is red in color, whereas lymph, it is colorless. Blood contains RBC, WBC and platelets, whereas lymph, they contain RBC and platelets. Lymph, they contain only WBC, but they lack RBC and platelets. Blood, it flows through blood vessel, whereas lymph, it flows through the lymph vessel. Blood, it transfers materials to different parts of the body, whereas lymph, it transfers materials between blood and cell. A healthy adult contains about 5 to 6 liters of blood in his body, whereas a healthy adult contains about 2 liters of lymph in his body. Nervous tissue. Here is a diagram showing nervous tissue. The tissue is essential for stimulation and reaction, and the basic unit of nervous system is known as neuron or nerves. There are three types of nerves. They are sensory afferent nerves, motor efferent nerves, and mixed nerves. A neuron consists of three major parts: the cell body, the axon, and the dendrites. Cell body is round in shape and is the center of receiving and sending nerve impulse. Axon, it is the long fibers that carry impulses away from the cell body. Dendrites is the short branch that carries impulses towards the cell body. Axon is surrounded by a myelin sheath which has constriction at different points, which are called node of Ranvier. Difference between axon and dendrites. Axon, it is a long cylindrical fiber of neuron, whereas dendrites, they are short and branch fiber of neuron. Axon, a A neuron has single axon, whereas a neuron has numerous dendrites. Axon. It carries impulses away from the cell body, whereas dendrites it conducts impulses towards the cell body. Axon. It is generally covered with a myelin sheath, whereas dendrites they do not have myelin sheath. Function of nervous tissue. It controls all activities of the body. It helps to get information about the change in the environment through the sense organs. It helps in learning, memorizing, thinking, reasoning, etc. Now we are going to discuss some of the reasoning questions from this heading. Tissue. Height of plant does not increase when its tip is cut. Why? Because a tip of plant contains mesenteric tissue that has capacity of cell division. That is the reason height of plant does not increase when its tip is cut. Next question. Xylem and phloem are called vascular bundles. Why? Because xylem conducts water and minerals from root to leaves, and phloem transport prepared food from leaves to different part of the body. As xylem and phloem they help in conduction, they are also known as the vascular bundles. When we pluck a leaf of a rubber plant, a milky substance comes out. Why? When we pluck a leaf of a rubber plant, milky substance comes out because rubber plant has lactiferous tissue in the heat, which secretes a kind of milky secretion called latex. Next question. Why neurons are elongated? The nerve cells are elongated as their main task is to transfer impulses over long distance. Nerves pick up electrical impulses from all over the body, and thus impulses must travel along an unbroken path to reach the brain. Next question. Why are bones hard and rigid? The cells are embedded inside the hard matrix, which is made up of protein, collagen, fibers, and rich in source of calcium and phosphorus, which are the main reason for the bone's hardness and strength. Why cell is called the structure and function unit of life? Cell is called the structure and function unit of life because all life forms are composed of cells. Various activities like respiration, growth, reproduction, excretion, etc. takes place inside cells. By this, we have completed notes of part 1 tissue from the unit anatomy and life process. I hope this video was useful to you. If you like this video, please share with your friends and don't forget to subscribe. If you have any queries, drop the comment in the comment section. See you on the next video. Thank you.